brought to you by Peak Milk. Peak Milk. Drink milk every day.
Money makaka yoji leji mo fe money kobi. Mo fe mo kra ni kobi yoji le. Je money te clinic pe. Shi mo fe money kobi. Money ko enyami yo podi enche ko enyami bi enche yoji le.
We Catholics, for example, our sisters do not give birth, but they are more than mothers. I can even call them super mothers.
Menya mesia me amedele na jivio krapola ekpona eviji yata nyonu de sia de waton ye be vino nenye de vitu kukra vino nyo egombe de nyonu amedole a o mejivi pokra owo domenyo na evi amedele me eva keke me jivi pokra ekpona viji.
Anyone that is nurturing for me, I haven't birthed any kids, but I would say I'm a mother to some of my nieces and my nephews because I care for them, you know, I babysit them, I buy them things, I help them to grow and to learn. So you definitely don't have to naturally birth someone to be a mother.
Well, a mother is someone that is always ready to give her all for, you know, it doesn't necessarily have to be your biological mother, but anyone that is ready to, you know, help you best possible way she can.
Aside from those who literally give birth to children, I think any woman who shows care and who nurtures another human being qualifies as a mother.
Somebody who has that, if I should put it, the heart to tolerate all wrongdoings.
Mo fear money jojile obanyo kake modern. It that definitely she will also give birth. Ne banye kwabi ojogban. No one modern.
Yo fe yo diake money effort keke. Si mo fe money kwabi me ko menyu ya ngo ya lo enyeme ahusan bi ne kwa ame jo ame trimming ake kwa ame e ko na shigbeke bi e ka hwe hia no e ya lo ne ba kwe e ba je trimming yo ba nye kwa mama e ko noko ne ya ho ye gbeke bi ahewo e wo e sa keshin ayo ni ahaye ayeko.
Social segment on New Day was brought.
Welcome back to New Day, brought to you by Vodafone. But the social segment, which is what we're going to look at now, is brought to you by Peak Milk. Drink Peak Milk every day. Peak Milk is richly packed with essential vitamins and minerals. So more Peak Milk means more brain power for you and your family. Get stronger and sharper. Drink Peak Milk every day. Visit Peak Milk's Facebook page at facebook.com/Peak West Africa. Peak Milk is very good for children. And as we celebrate women across the world this Sunday, I'll entreat you all to drink Peak Milk. It's very good. It's healthy. I love Peak Milk, by the way. All right, so let's get into our discussion. Yesterday, Esther Koba was here, and so was Edith Dankwa from the Business and Financial Times and Gina West. And it became very clear that, you know, what I've always believed in, you don't necessarily have to have a child to be a good mother. There are several women out there who are so fantastic. I know several women who've done so much for communities they live in, and they are not even mothers. They've really not even gone to the labor ward, but they're doing tremendously well, changing lives across the world and in their community. So that is what we're looking at today. Who indeed is a mother? And to help us with the discussion, the only man on the set, Nana J. Bafuwa, today not analyzing the newspapers. Good to see you, Nana.
Good to see
you. We
you.
missed you yesterday.
Yes. I also missed you guys.
Yeah? Nice. And then Claudia Lumo here. She's the publisher of the Glitz magazine. They have a new one out. How's it going, Claudia?
It's going very well.
Fantastic. And a very lovely, very, very lovely lady. She was on our screens for several years at GTV. Well, she moved out. She's got her own show, The Standpoint. If you haven't seen that show, you really don't understand women then. Gifty Auntie. I don't know how long it's taking me to interview you.
You should tell them that you are my daughter.
That is true. That is true. She was very strict on me at GBC. Very, very strict.
You've been at GBC?
Yes, I was at GBC. That was my first place.
You didn't know about that?
Oh, I was at GBC for a year. Yeah, only a year. Anyway, Gift, it's good to see you. And I love what you're wearing.
Thank you.
Back our girls. You really, you know, spearhead a lot of things, Gifty.
We have to. We have to. Every girl everywhere matters.
Yep.
Every girl everywhere matters.
Yeah. I totally agree with you. And congratulations, really, with Stanford. Like, you're doing excellent.
Thank you. You're doing so well yourself.
Anyway, so let's kickstart our discussion this morning. Nana, who, in your opinion, is a woman? Is a mother, I mean?
Is a mother. Not your biological mother. Anyone who is concerned about you. Anyone who cares. Any woman who cares about you. If I'm given the opportunity, I'll take the liberty to give you a little example of my life. My mother, I was raised by my mother. We are 5 of us. I'm the last of the 5. And my father divorced my mother. And when he divorced my mother, he divorced all of us. So it was my mom that brought us up. But my aunties were very, very significant in that upbringing. And the example I'll give you is recent, but I can go way back to my secondary school days, my primary school days, how one of my aunties even treated me as his firstborn. Recently, when I was in London and we went to church, everybody sees me as a firstborn. Not many people know the truth. I'd gone to London to school, and then I needed to raise a deposit of £3,700, and I didn't have that money. And I had other friends around who had also come to school. They were with their mothers, their real mothers, and they could not raise the money. And their mother had been living in London for a long time. My auntie went to the bank to borrow for me. Because she had sworn heaven and earth that I was not going to do what I was not going to do. I was not going to live and work in London. She wanted me to school and come back home. She borrowed for me with the understanding that I'll pay back. And I'll tell you some funny story today. When I was going to school and I had to pay back, she said, okay, use the money to buy, your bus pass and other things. And when there is a little left, you can bring it. During the vacation, you can work for the 3 months period and then use that to pay a significant amount of the money off. In the 3 months period, I'd missed my girlfriend in Ghana, and I said I was coming, and she said, don't go. I said, I'll come. And the rest is history. I came. When I came and I went, she was mad. She was very, very mad at me that I had done something and it was stupid. On hindsight, it's one of the greatest mistakes I made in my life. Tell me, the girl broke up with me.
I was expecting that part.
She found, She found someone and broke up with me. And then my auntie did not break up with me.
Yeah.
She did not, and she still sees me as her son.
Yeah.
So she's not my biological mother, but she's seen me as her son. And there are other aunties like that. My mother's friends, when I was growing up, there were people who went and tell my mother, this is what your son has done. Not that they were gossiping. They really wanted my good.
Exactly.
I mean, these people cared about me. They were so concerned about me.
Yeah. What you're saying gives a backing to what Oprah Winfrey has always said, that biology is really the least of what makes someone a mother.
So my mother is fantastic, extremely, I'm telling you. But for my mother, I wouldn't have known where I would have been.
Yeah.
But for my aunties, I wouldn't have advanced.
Yeah.
And for my mother's female friends in Kumasi, I wouldn't have been morally, upright. For mothers of some of my friends, when I came back to Ghana, I had to live with a friend. And the mother really took me as a son.
Okay.
So it's not just about biological mothers. It's about anyone who has been so concerned about your upkeep.
Okay. Claudia, I'll pick your thoughts on that. Who is a mother?
Yeah, I think I would say we say motherhood is a state of being a mother. But then I believe that that state of being a mother is is your way of thinking, is that spirit of being a mother, is that emotions, is that choices that we make as women So it's not, I don't believe it's just a matter of you having a child or being pregnant and having a child. Somebody who have that spirit of being a mother, that spirit of being a woman, they make these choices. Like Gifty is saying, bring back our girls. I mean, she's very passionate about this. This is somebody who have that spirit of being, being there for other people. She's making choices that will help other people. People who have emotions that help them to make decisions that will help other people. So, I mean, somebody can be as young as, I think, 18, but will still be there and be like a mother for, younger brothers or sisters or anything like that. So, I mean, and we make the community. So I believe that if that spirit and that choices and that emotion that is inbuilt with us as women, if that is strong, then we have that community already. We have that strong community already. So.
Yeah. I remember yesterday I said that not every mother should be celebrated. I know a typical example, and it's very close to me. My friend had a child with his girlfriend. The girl is now about 1 year old. The lady came home one day. The baby was just about 7 months old, and said, "Look, I found in Nigeria, and I'm relocating with him, and so you can have the child." And she left the baby.
So that woman, for instance, is only but a vessel through which the girl has come
so
to the earth.
It buttresses the points you're trying to raise here. Gifty, who is a mother?
Well, I would say that I don't think you can compare anything to a woman who goes through the 9-month period of carrying a child in her womb, going to the labor ward, giving birth and seeing a baby, and then, feeling that I now have a responsibility. Those women, I call them God's partners in creation.
Okay.
It's a beautiful thing. But as you have given an example, it's not every woman. That's why I have a problem with us referring to pregnant women as pregnant mothers. They're pregnant women.
Yeah.
It is after they deliver and they're able to take care of their children and mother them and bring them up in a way that will be pleasing to God, for them to become responsible people in society. That's when they become mothers.
Do you see that largely a lot of people who are having babies these days, the young ones especially, are living lives worthy of being called mothers?
No, unfortunately no. Some of them by accident, some of them just by fashion. You go to certain communities in Ghana here, at fashion, at a certain age, you must have a child. So
because the outdooring is necessary.
Thank you. Go GMO and all those things, I mean, it's a fact, you go to, I'm not going to mention names, but it is really sad. And it's certain communities, like competition, which is really wrong. It's detrimental to the health of these young girls, and it hampers their development in so many ways. So some of them are just having children. There are certain women, because they can deliver, they just give birth to as many as 8, 7, 9, 10, whatever, and they can't take care of these kids. That is not a mother. That is not a mother. You don't give birth because you can just do it. You give birth because you're ready. You can take care of that child. You can, provide for that child no matter what. You are prepared to sacrifice and compromise and give your all to that child.
Okay. So that's what you call a mother.
Yes.
Okay, Nana, just like I asked her, if indeed women who have gone to the labor ward, as Gifty just took us through, are really living as mothers.
Not everyone. You cited a very good example of somebody who has gone through the labor ward, carried the baby for 9 months, dumping that baby. There are several examples. People who dump their baby on refuse dump and other places. I don't think they are mothers. They are only but vessels through which the children found themselves onto the earth. They are no mothers. When you've carried the baby and the baby has now arrived on the surface of the earth, I think a mother is someone who disadvantages herself for the advantage of that baby. So if you were having to spend 10 Ghana cedis for yourself, and because now you have a baby, you have to spend 5 Ghana cedis so the baby can also enjoy some, then you are a mother. So the baby has given you some disadvantage, some discomfort, which ordinarily you wouldn't have had. That is mother. So you apply it on a daily basis. A mother is someone who is giving the baby somewhere to sleep. Otherwise, the mother would have had a whole bed to herself. A mother is someone who is eating half bowl of gari and giving the rest to the baby. Otherwise, the woman would have had full bowl to eat. You know. So these are mothers.
Not the mother who would allow the child to roam around in the community, not go to school, but find money to buy bleaching creams.
At all. And again, I'll give you another example. I mean, we are celebrating motherhood, and I would want to use this opportunity to cite this example. Nanaba, when my father married his stepwife, he divorced when
his wife is your stepmother.
My stepmother. Sorry, my stepmother. He divorced everybody, including me and my 4 siblings. Right? And at that time, my mother was living in a single room. My father had a whole apartment to himself. He brought in his the relatives of his wife to live in there, and we were all living in a single room with our mother. That is the discomfort it created for our mother, but she was ready to bear it. Now, not only did he do that, my mother, he also refused to pay our fees. And at that point, my mother had to sacrifice. She left her office job because it was not sufficient to cater for us, to go into trading. That is the discomfort she suffered. You understand? So that is motherhood. You know, she had an opportunity to travel out of the shores of this country, and she said no, she will not go, because at that point I in particular was very troublesome, so she could not go. That is the level of discomfort she suffered. Now, if any other woman cannot suffer that discomfort, then she's not a mother.
You know, Nanaba, let me get just yesterday, right? You know, I have this foundation, the Girl in Need Foundation. We help young girls go back to school. A woman came to my office with 2 girls. And her story was that she was looking really nice, well dressed, and with a kid. Her first child, she's a single mother. Her first child is going to the university, and the 2 of them, she can't take care of them, so she needs help. So I looked at her and I knew that this is a woman who doesn't need our help. You know why? Because just before then, an HND graduate from Kumasi Polytechnic with the chemical engineering HND is working at Dom Market as Kayayu, carrying load. When she was talking to me, she was laughing. You know, she said, you know, her hair is eating off, the top of her is eating off, because after school she can't get a job to do. She has a daughter. That daughter needs to eat. Her husband is a fuel pump attendant. He gets 150 cedis. She needs to do something. She can't sit down. So at Dom Market, this girl is carrying other people's load to get money. Now that's a mother. So if you can sacrifice a bit more for the 2 girls to go to school, you have one at the university. What can you do? If she had come to me to say that I want some money to maybe trade or something, that would have been different. Some women actually give up their children because they found a man who doesn't want them to to have kids. Some of the children we are taking care of, that's their story.
It's true.
She was given up, one girl from the Volta region, by her mother. She got pregnant at the age of 12 years because she keeps moving from one relative to the other, begging for. And when her teacher identified her, she was so desperate she wanted to commit suicide. And the brother, we decided to help her. This girl doesn't need only school fees. She needs something to. She said, "Ma, even if you give me 100 cedis, I promise you, I will sell anything and I wouldn't come back to you for school fees." That's a mother. She's 17 years. Her child is 5 years. That's a mother. God. That's a mother. There are people who will tell you about what their stepmothers have done for them. What people who they don't know from anywhere. I had a girl who came to live with me for years because she was abused. And I found her, she was sleeping rough. Somebody brought her to me. And she left with me. I left alone, so she lived with me for years. I mean, at a point, even my relatives were a bit worried about it because I didn't know anybody, any of her parents. Now, the truth came to light. And that girl, the British government, there's a difference between government, actually went into her case and identified, traced her because she had been, I told her story on the Standpoint, we covered her face anyway. But the British High Commission here remembered there was a similar story told on the Standpoint. They traced that they came back, and now that girl is back in UK. There isn't a single day she doesn't call me.
Oh.
Everybody knows I'm her mother.
Bless you.
She's lost her mother now. Now, when you do this and you hear people say thank you, people show appreciation to you, I think it's a wonderful feeling.
Yeah.
Years ago, when we're celebrating Mother's Day, I wouldn't be sitting here because I don't have a biological child. But now things have changed.
Yeah.
The world has evolved. Women have come to understand that it doesn't have to be something from your womb. But when you impact on a life, when you change a life, when you hear about the over 200 girls abducted in Nigeria, and you can feel something and decide to do something, you are a mother.
Absolutely. You know, bless you. I mean, give
You
you.
to bless you.
You're doing, like I said in my intro, she's doing very, very well for a lot of children. I remember the day your story came out that you had left GBC. We reviewed the paper together, and Nana was so full of praise for you and the things you continue to do for women in this country and beyond. So bless you for that particular story. Gifty started by telling us about how her father stood in as her mother and did well. We can see the results of what her
Hopefully I turned out all right.
Of course. You know, better than all right. Of course, it's so obvious for anybody to see. Now, there are several cases of men who've had to take care of their children, not just because their wives passed away, but the mothers were so irresponsible. The father had to let go of certain things and stand in, take that strong stand and say that I want to double as the father and mother at the same time. I'm sure as a lawyer, you've dealt with some cases like that.
No, there are a lot of cases like that. Recently, there was even a case where they had fought over custody. They had been divorced. They fought over custody of the baby, only for the woman to leave the shores of this country and dump the baby on her mother. So now the gentleman has gone for the baby and is taking care of the baby himself. There are several instances like that. It is very unfortunate. Some of the women would want to live their life, and forget about the past. And that is how radical they choose to do it.
So should we put premium on Father's Day then?
I think we should. But you see, it is a personal decision. It is a personal decision. Mother's Day is given this kind of significance because generally mothers are seen to have done well for us, but generally fathers have been lagging behind in comparison to mothers. So that is why they are not getting that kind of attention. Some people would say that during Father's Day, fathers are people give their fathers towels, and during Mother's Day they give their mom, some good parcels, which is the truth. I mean, you can't lie. In our society, for instance, in traditional as it was, we've seen instances where some fathers choose to take care of their nephews and nieces instead of their children for fear of being attacked or criticized by their family. Recently we've seen some changes in that regard, but that is the truth. So Mother's Day will continue to enjoy some very important place as compared. Father's Day tends to be a personal thing.
Okay. Gifty, should we be celebrating fathers a lot more?
Well, I think we should celebrate fathers, but on that day the focus must be on getting them to be more responsible. Telling them that it's important to be a responsible father, so that when we sit on a set like this, beautiful as it is, we can also have good stories to tell about fathers, because the statistics out there, and these are reality, not just numbers.
It's not in their favor.
It's not in their favor.
Yeah.
And now it's becoming a trend. Sadly, it's becoming a trend where men are having children and decide that I won't take care of that child because anyway, when he or she grows up, they'll come look for me.
That is it.
It's madness.
That is it.
But it's becoming like a fashion. And I wonder where that is coming from.
That is it.
I wonder where that is coming from. Because we'll go to church, they'll tell you, forgive your father. Because most of the pastors are men. So forgive your father, have mercy on him. God says you must respect your father and your mother.
You can't change your father.
Thank you. So you go back and do them. But what they don't know is that what is happening now is children now, when they're needed by their father, they will send money, they won't go there. And there's nothing like the physical presence of a person when you need them most. In your dying moment.
Absolutely.
There's nothing like having them. No, they will send money. Some of them even don't come for the funeral of their fathers. They only send money. They'll bury him.
Is that what they do? Claudia? Then I'll come to you, Sheffield.
Yeah, I totally agree with Gifty saying that. I mean, on Father's Day, I mean, the attention should be on, encouraging fathers to be, better with what they do. I mean, if you're lucky and you had a father that was there for you as Gifty was, like had a father who was there like a mother, then by all means, I mean, celebrate your father. But I don't even, because it's just like most of us have gone through lives with fathers who were not there for us, and we saw our mothers, the challenge they went through, juggling like 2-3 jobs and raising 4-5 kids, and sometimes we can't help it but just to celebrate Mother's Day so big, and then when it gets to Father's Day, I mean, you probably, it's even like 1 or 2 p.m. I remember, I have to call my dad. Whereas when it's Mother's Day,
that's true. Sometimes you even remember a week after. That it was Father's Day.
So I mean, I absolutely adore men as well who are able to take on the challenge as mothers, because I have a cousin, and when I see, anytime I'm in London, when I see him with his daughter, it's adorable. Like, he will bath the daughter. He is even closer to the kids than the woman. The way he'll look after them, pick them from school. I adore him. So if you're lucky to have a father like that, by all means celebrate them. But I mean, if you're unlucky and
Well, I'll be a bit controversial here. I think fathers must learn their lessons. We must learn our lessons because a lot of these statistics, if you go deep down into the details, we normally say the devil is in the details. One of the things you realize is that the irresponsibility of fathers resulted from one woman or the other that came into their lives. Sometimes my father, I'm told, was very responsible, taking my brothers, my siblings to the best of schools, caring for them to the extent that some even relatives of my mother that benefit. But at some point it changed. Why did he change? Because another woman came into his life.
But he allowed it.
So we must learn our lessons. That's what I'm saying. We must learn our lessons.
Exactly.
We must learn our lessons. Because you see, invariably, the same women will tell us we are irresponsible. So we must learn our lessons.
Because,
we must learn our lessons.
My mother and my father separated when I was very little.
Okay.
Some of my siblings say when I was 6 months, others say when I was 2 years. But whatever it is, my father died in 2005 when I was 35 years. So for over 30 years, my father stayed
with you
because of his children. He always said he tried to marry, and the woman maltreated us, especially me.
So he let it go.
He just let it go. He said, no way. I don't know if he had a girlfriend outside, but no woman came to that house because of his children. He sacrificed, he did everything. He said, no one will come between me and my children.
My mother also decided not to marry again because she didn't want to marry for another man to maltreat her.
Responsible woman right there.
But my father was enjoying. But you see, now, the sad bit is that the Ghanaian society is so sympathetic. When some of these issues arise. I remember when Michaelisian issue broke.
Okay.
Yes. People were like, your father is your father. Even if he didn't take care of you, you've got his name. You need the blessings of your father. So many things. And then he became a very bad person. People had failed to look at what had transpired, the antecedent. People had failed to look at it.
And the pain and the hate.
And we all do go through it every now and then. I'll give you a story. When they were when they were going to introduce the continuous assessment, and then my friends were like, you are always talking about your mother, we've never heard of your father. So I decided to go and spend the weekend with my dad. And then, so my mom showed me where my father lived. I went there, and when I went there, my dad was not in. My stepbrother was in the house. We played. Night broke. My father came in. When my father came in around 10 o'clock, do you know what he said? He said there was shortage of water supply in the area, so he had to buy water to bath with my stepbrother. He can't do same for me. So that night he took me back to my mother around 10 p.m. When he took me back to my mother went to him with me that night. She also, my mother, she can be a bit temperamental. So she took me back and then she said, Ewa, she usum body asum kodu, but Debbie Kombeba. Today, a komaba. And he calls me.
And you as a lawyer?
Yeah, sometimes he calls me when he needs money from you. He calls, and the way he threatens you, and sometimes I freeze.
Okay, you need my blessing.
And the father should say sorry as well.
Yeah, but that's
my father says he never says sorry.
Anyway, there's a few messages here. There's a message from a good friend. I don't agree with Gifty about the emphasis on be more responsible during Father's Day. Men are wrongly socialized anyway. And he goes on to say, I also don't like the way they pushed aside the issue you raised about those special fathers who stood up for their children and drowned in the stereotype. And some of us sacrificed in the same way like Gifty's father did for their children.
It's important to celebrate those fathers,
who
but we need to stress that they have to be more responsible. There are more men out there who have to be responsible, and we celebrate him for being a responsible father.
Yes.
Then we said that Mother's Day is general, but Father's Day is a personal thing.
Yeah. All right. So I have just a few seconds. I'm just actually being chased out of the studio. Gifty, your last words to women out there. I'm sorry, I have to be biased. I have to give it to Gifty.
Briefly, women, hold your head high. Understand that motherhood is about how you impact on another life, whether it's yours or it's not yours. But please, let's remember Sunday, yes, let's go to church, let's wear our white, but there must be a red somewhere to send a message out there that there are about 200 girls out there who have been abducted, who are being abused, and God knows what is happening to them. They'll go to Facebook, there's a movement there. I think on Sunday there's going to be a march, there's going to be a presentation of a petition. I think the rallying point will be, I think, the Barclays Clubhouse. I'm not too sure, either Barclays Clubhouse or Afrikiko, one of them. But go to Facebook, all the information is out there. Join and let's make an impact. Let's scream, Ghana led the liberation of Africa. Let's Ghana lead for the liberation of these over 200 girls. Happy Mother's Day to every mother. And Nanaba, you are such a wonderful mother. I admire you and I respect you.
Thank you.
What you did last year was wonderful. You know what I'm talking about.
Yes. Thank you very much.
One word. Mothers who have got maid servants and house helps, don't more treat them simply because they are not your mother. They are not your children. You only advance the cause of feminine, the feminine movement. When you come out, and then when you go in, you more treat someone's child who is living with you because he's not your child. I think it is improper.
Not just because he's not your child, but because you see her as a servant.
As a servant, it's not good.
Okay. So before we go, we are celebrating mothers' rights. The new Glitz magazine featuring Jackie Appiah, Claudia's magazine. She's a publisher for this, and I'll just give it to Gifty.
Thank you. Yeah. I need it.
That's my gift for you.
That is discrimination.
Well, I will celebrate Gifty Auntie any day. She's done very well for women in this country.